Chullin Daf Samach Gimel. Today we're going to learn about 10 very, very interesting tummy birds. The first one is a shalach, otherwise known as a cormorant. It fishes deep in the sea. The Gemara says that when Rabbi Yochanan would see one of these, he would say, Mishpatecha tahim rabba, your din reaches far into the sea. In other words, if a fish did something wrong, you would steal from his friend, lie, he would become lunch for the shalach. When Rabbi Yochanan would see an ant, he would say, Tzidkoscha kahari el. One of the pshatim Rashi is that an ant, as small as it is, it has a very big body, so to speak. It acts like a bigger animal. They say that ants are the only species that could actually enslave other ants of their own kind. Says the Gemara, a duchifas. What's a duchifas? Rashi says over here it's as large as a chicken, but in Chumash he says it's what we know as the hupo. Why is it called duchifas? Because hoidoi kafus. It has a beautiful crown which it could bring down and make part of its head. The Gemara says the famous story in Gittin that the duchifas, he was the keeper of the shomer, the worm that cut stones, and Shlomo HaMelech needed it for the Beis Hamikdash, but the duchifas wouldn't give it to him. So he played a trick on him, Shlomo, and he put a glass enclosure over its nest, and the duchifas went and grabbed the shomer to crack the glass. They scared the duchifas, he dropped the shomer, and they grabbed it. And then the duchifas went and killed himself. Says the Gemara, any place that there's a peres in Ozniyah, like we learned yesterday, which only has one simon of kashrus, it usually doesn't hang out in the city, but if it does come there, the minhag of the makom was not to eat two birds that were called shaknoi uvatnoi. Says Rashi, because perhaps they are the same min as the peres in the Ozniyah. What's a tinshemes? So there's two pshatim in the Gemara. The Gemara says buas. What is buas? Two pshatim in that word. It could mean hoot. So what hoots? An owl. You might be wondering why I have this owl here. I bought it in the hardware store to chase away my birds here in Eretz Yisrael on the porch. And true fashion of an Israeli bird, the next morning I found a pigeon sitting right on top of my owl. But at least I can use it here for today's shir. The other pshat in Tinshemes is that it's a bat. Why does Rashi say that Tinshemes is a bat? They say because there's two Tinshemeses in the Torah. One is a bird and one is a sheketz. And the sheketz, nobody argues. Everybody agrees that it's a mole. And a mole is blind, and so is a bat sort of blind, and they look very similar, so that's why Rashi says it might be atalef. Although the Torah itself says atalef, I'm not exactly sure how that fits in. The ka'as. Ka'as is translated as a pelican. A pelican regurgitates its food and feeds it to its young, and ka'as means to vomit, to bring up. Racham is translated as a magpie or a roller. Beautiful birds, very interesting that a roller, the Gemara says, anytime it rolls into town, it's a sign that there'll be rain. Another unbelievable thing about the roller is that if it sits on the ground and it shrieks, it's a sign that Mashiach is coming. There's once a story where it sat down on the ground and it shrieked, and everybody thought Mashiach is coming, but because it lied, it got a heavenly stone came down and crushed its skull. Says the Gemara, Oirev, what's an Oirev? A black crow. So when the Torah says, Kol mine eskala oirev, it means to include a crow that has white in it, and liminoi, like we said yesterday, according to Rebbe Lezer, it comes to include a white-bellied swallow. The Chacham hold that it comes to include a crow that looks like a pigeon. A nate is what's called a sparrow hawk. There's no argument in that. Everybody knew what it was, a sparrow hawk. But it says in the Torah liminoi, so it comes to include a sharinka. What's a sharinka? In German, a sharinka is translated as a strangler. A very interesting bird. It takes prey almost its size, and it strangles the prey. It impales it on a very sharp object. A chasida is translated as a stork. Why is it called a chasida? Because it does chesed with its friends. The question is, everybody asks, if it does so much chesed with its friends, why is it not kosher? And the answer is, because it only does chesed with its friends, and it doesn't do chesed with others. So we should try to do chesed with other groups, etc., etc. Anafa is a daya. What's a daya in English? It's a heron, and it's called anafa because it has an inger problem. Rav says that there are 24 non-kosher birds. How does he get to 24? If you take the two parshiyos which describe all the non-kosher birds from Vayikra and Devarim, and you add 4 words that the Torah says, limina, limina, liminoi, and liminehu, you come to 24, provided that the ra'ah and the da are the same bird. Why would the Torah mention it in 2 different ways? Because there are people that call it this way and people that call it that way, so you don't make any mistakes. Rebbe Avo is mechuluk on Rav, and he says there's only 23. Why? Because the ra, da, daya, and aya are one and the same. And memela, he comes out with only 23 birds. What is a da? A da is what they call a kite, and it could see from Bavel to Israel, which is about 680 miles. It has unbelievable eyesight. The side of the Gemara says it's a guzma, and then somebody wrote, I don't understand why he said it's a guzma. It's 100% true. It says the Gemara, there are 100 species of daya in the world, and there are 700 species of non-kosher fish, and there's 800 species of non-kosher grasshoppers. Tosfos says, this comes to say that if you know all 800 species of non-kosher grasshoppers, you could eat number 801. Now, kosher birds, there are unlimited, ain't so if you can't even count, because there's only 24 types of non-kosher. The rest of the birds in the world are all kosher, provided that you have a Messiah and you got a Messiah from your forefathers. Says the Gemara that just like the Torah describes only 10 kosher animals, and from that we learn that everything else is not kosher, so too, when the Torah describes 24 non-kosher birds, everything else is kosher. Ask the Gemara, what's the chiddush in that? And here, we are only into this 8-minute daf we started last week, and we already have a beautiful siman from the Gemara. The Gemara says it's coming to tell us that you should always teach your students in a very clear, precise, and short manner. So the Torah is telling us, I'm only giving you a list of 24 and not enumerating the thousands upon thousands of different kosher birds. The last halacha today is that a person is believed to say that the person that taught me how to hunt, not a Talmid Chacham, just a person that knows birds inside out, told me that this specific bird is kosher. He can be believed that it's kosher. Have a wonderful day.